Hi, I'm Donna Jordan from Jordan Fabrics. Today I'd like to make the pattern called Kitty Kitty. I've been looking at this for a long time because I like the blue colors there and I like those diagonal chains of patchwork. And this one is all a color theme. It's beautiful, but I want to make one that's got more colors in it. So I'm going to use the jelly roll from Kaufman called Dotted. And so we've got all these different bright colors in it. The pattern calls for 40 2.5-inch strips, and we've got different colors specified here and quantities of strips you need. So mine will be a little bit different than that, but let's see what we've got here. I think we have some clear color groups that we can use, even if they're not all individual colors that we're going to use. So I think we need 12, 12, 8, and 8. So if we start at the purple blue end here, we've got 12 of these, and then we've got, I think we'll stick these here, I think we've got 8 green ones, and then we've got 12 dark ones and 8 orange ones. Here's what we've got. These two color stacks here, they will be where we've got light and dark blue there. Then these colorful pieces here, darker, they will be making all of these chains and also the middle patchwork there. The only other fabric we need is some background. There's a couple of borders, but I'll pick those out later. And the background, that's the only fabric we have to cut up because the strips are all going to be used whole to make strip sets with. Now I can't give you the sizes of all of the background pieces because it's not my pattern, but it's a cozy quilt pattern, and they're always so easy to follow. We have everything we need cut, and now we can start sewing. First step, we're going to take 4 of these blue strips and 4 of the background strips, and we're going to make a strip set, one of these and one of these. Then we're going to do the same thing with some from this stack. All we have to do is take one background strip and one of the jelly roll strips and sew down one long edge. And the only thing I'm careful of here is that I don't stretch the top or stretch the back, because that makes the strip set a little bit wonky. So if you don't stretch, stitch all the way down. That's all there is to it. I like to finger press the seam. So I'm going to open this up, and I want the seam allowance to go toward the dark. So I'm going to kind of pull it open with the palms, with my palms and my thumbs there, and then anchor it with this finger, and then pull your other finger right down that seam. And that will flatten it out. I'm not really stretching it, I'm just squashing it. And then when we take it over to the ironing board, that seam allowance wants to stay that way, and it'll be really quick to iron it. Even though these were finger pressed, you still want to iron them. And I like to lay it out on my board so that it's parallel to the edge, so I know it's not distorted. And then I usually just do a dry iron and then add some steam. The next step is to make some subcuts with these. The way I like to do that is to we'll take 2 different colors. We'll put this one with this and this one with that, because these are going to end up as 4 patches. And I'm going to put them right sides together right now. And I'm going to match up the seam in the middle. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to have to readjust it after we cut. And I'm going to line it up on a line on my table. Let me slide it down here. And then I'm going to make my subcuts. And then my pieces will already be facing the right way so that we can stitch them together. Let me show you what I mean. I've got this one. And this one. And it may move a little on the way over to the sewing machine, but basically we're going to stitch right here, open it up, and we're going to get a nice 4-patch. All we have to do is make sure that intersection is lined up there. Seam allowances are going in opposite directions, and I like to put it on the machine so that the back here has the seam allowance going down, because then it doesn't tend to get flipped up as I sew. I'm going to sew all of them exactly like this, and you'll notice, because the strips I cut are 2.5 inches without the pinked edge. Kaufman's pre-cuts are cut a little bit wider than 2.5 inches because they're measuring from the inside edge of the pinked cut. I just ignore it. Honestly, by the time we get the blocks done, that's sticking off a little teeny bit there. It's not going to bother us at all. So I'm again going to finger press, hold it open, and just give a little press like that, and it makes it much, much easier to iron it. You can see how easy these are to iron because we finger pressed. Pretty much you're just going to have to make sure it's flat, give it a little bit of steam. I'm going to do the exact same thing we did with these 4 patches with these strips here, and then I'm going to take some that don't have a background, they're just going to have 2 strips, sew them together and make more 4 patches. There's the last of those 4 patches. Now we're going to take all of these 2 stacks and we're going to take one from each stack and sew them together into a strip unit. These strip sets get cut a little bit bigger, and we don't have to do any more stitching to these. All we do is cut them like this, and then we will add a few corners, but we don't make these into 4 patches. To create the point on this block, the most exact way to do it is to draw on the diagonal of your background blocks. So each of the squares below get 2 of these, and then you can stitch these on, one on each corner, and it'll make a little point. Now if you don't want to draw on the back of them, you can put a line on your sewing machine. There's tapes you can use, whatever method you prefer. It doesn't matter which corner you start on. I'm going to start on this edge, line up those raw edges, and stitch just a little bit to that side of that drawn line. And that way when you go to fold it, it should fit just perfectly. So when we fold this over, all of our raw edges are meeting along here. I'm going to trim this off with scissors right now. You can take it to the cutting board and use your blade if you like. And then we'll put that second half on. So what we're doing is making we're making blocks that have a little point. And all the blocks have 2 different colors. So in my case, my blocks had green, and then over here they have yellow or orange. So it's important to put this point so that all your blocks are facing the same way. So the next block, make it pointed like this. Don't turn it around. Put it with green always on this side, and that way the quilt blocks will have a little more balance. I've got 4 of the blocks we just made along with some of the blocks we made earlier. This is the center of our block. Then we're going to put 4 of these around the edges, and I just picked 4 different ones, and I think I will balance the colors a little more. Put my yellowy ones here and my orangey ones there. Then we've got these 2 different stacks of things we made earlier, And we're going to put these in the opposite corners. That one there, and that one there. And all we have to do is make these 3 rows and sew the rows together. And I'm going to press the seams on this row away from the middle. And I'll do that same direction on the bottom row. And then this middle row, the seams will go toward the center. And that way, when we go to put the rows together, everything will lay nice and flat. That is block number 1, and we've got 15 blocks that are made just like this. The first block, they're all completed. Now we're ready to move on to the second block. We have to make strip sets for these also. These strip sets are a little bit different. We're going to make 3 strips here with a jelly roll strip in the middle, and then we're going to make some strip sets that have these wider pieces and just 1 jelly roll piece on one end. I went ahead and made all of these strip sets. They're all ironed and they all get cut exactly the same way. So you can stack some, you can even put them one above another on your table. Just make sure that you've got them lined up on a line. And then we're going to do sub-cutting. And they all get cut 2.5 inches wide. Once everything is cut into segments, we have a very easy block to make. This will go in the middle. We'll do one of these on one end and just pick a different color for the other end. And we will sew these together. So we're going to use all of this color group to make blocks like this. And then we'll use our other color group, which is over here. Same thing, all made into that shaped block. So I've got 2 of each kind of square, and we are going to set them like this. So we're going to get 4 different colors in the middle, and all we have to do is stitch this way and then stitch that way. I'll go ahead and stitch up the rest of these blocks, and then we'll be ready to lay the quilt out. The layout is super simple. We just alternate the squares. So I've got them facing with my one color here. I've got that same color on this diagonal going that direction. So keep all of your blocks facing like that. I'm not going to spin them. I'm just going to do every other one. Now we get a great picture of what the whole quilt is going to look like. Very easy to stitch together from here. Just make the rows, stitch those rows together, and I think there's 2 borders that we'll add, and then we'll get it loaded onto the quilting machine. I've got the quilt loaded on the machine, and we need to pick some thread. I've got 2 soft options and 2 brighter options. Let's see what they look like. These are always fun, these variegated threads. So you never know what color will end up where. It will show in the background. I don't think it'll show at all in the patchwork there. This is nice and cheerful. That's also going to show even in the light areas. It won't be real prominent, but it'll show a little bit. This soft lavender picks up a lot of the colors that are in there. That's not going to show at all there. Also not going to show much in the patchwork. There's a lot of blue in it. Blue would be good. A hint of color there. I think I'm going to go with the least prominent thread today, which is the lavender. For the quilting pattern, I'm using this one called Bubbles. I love all the circles, big and little, and the pattern, the jelly roll we used, it's called Dotty, and it's filled with circles and dots, so this should be perfect. The Kitty Kitty quilt, it's all done, and it's nice and bright, and I love how balanced the colors are. Mine is multicolored, where the pattern showed it 2 colors of blue here, a green, and a yellow. So mine is more multicolored, but every block has the green 4 times in the same spot. And that makes it look even and very, very balanced. Same with these diagonal lines. Clearly this one has one color, the other diagonal has another color. Turned out really nice, and these swirly quilting, called bubbles, matches all these dots so nicely. There's a 2.5 inch border and a 4.5 inch border. And I did the back with these striped bubbles and the binding with the same color. The quilt turns out 72 by 84, which is a nice big throw size. It'd be pretty easy to make it bigger. Add more jelly roll strips. There's just those 2 blocks, so you can hardly see the blocks now. So this is the first block we made right here, and then that's the second block. And they're just alternated, so super easy to make it larger. Thanks so much for watching our tutorial today. We hope you enjoyed it. We have lots of fun making them, and at the end of each one, we do a giveaway. Today's giveaway is a King's Crown quilt, and this is a nice size for a wall hanging. I have one this size hanging up on my wall at home. These are French general prints from Moda, and I love the small flowers, medium, big. It's got a beautiful floral print on the back side, and it's very easy to enter the giveaways. Just click the link below this video that says giveaway, and you put in your name and your email address, and you might be the next lucky winner. Now, if you like our tutorials and you want to support us, the best thing you can do is subscribe to our YouTube channel. That really helps us out. Happy quilting!